Yields back. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Indiana, Mr. Bucshon, for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I grew up about 20 miles from Springfield, Illinois, and President Lincoln's boyhood home is in my congressional district in Spencer County, Indiana. His birthday is this Saturday, February 12th, so I want to highlight some of his speeches and recognize the enduring importance of his words. First is his farewell speech to Springfield, delivered February 11th, 1861. My friends, no one, not in my situation, can appreciate my feeling of sadness at this parting. To this place, the kindness of these people, I owe everything. Here I have lived a quarter of a century and have passed from a young to an old man. Here my children have been born and one is buried. I now leave not knowing when or whether ever I may return, with a task before me that which rested upon Washington is greater than that which rested upon Washington. Without the assistance of that divine being, whoever attended him, I cannot succeed. With that assistance, I cannot fail. Trusting in him who can go with me and remain with you and be everywhere for good, let us confidently hope that all will yet be well. To his care, commending you, as I hope in your prayers you will commend me, I bid you an affectionate farewell. Notice the importance of faith to President Lincoln in his farewell speech to Springfield. I do believe the loss of faith amongst elected officials has been detrimental to our country. It seems that we go out of our way to eliminate any mention of faith in public life. This is a mistake. Next, Mr. Speaker, President Lincoln's address at Independence Hall, February 22nd, 1861, on George Washington's birthday. I am filled with deep emotion at finding myself standing here in this place where were collected together the wisdom, the patriotism, the devotion to principle from which sprang the institutions under which we live. You have kindly suggested to me that in my hands is the task of restoring peace to the present distracted condition of the country. I can say in return, sir, that all the political sentiments I entertain have been drawn, so far as I have been able to draw them, from the sentiments which originated and were given to the world from this hall. I have never had a feeling politically that did not spring from the sentiments embodied in the Declaration of Independence. I have often pondered over the dangers which were incurred by the men who assembled here and framed and adopted the Declaration of Independence. I have pondered over the toils that were endured by the officers and soldiers of the Army who achieved that independence. I have often inquired of myself what great principle or idea it was that kept this Confederacy so long together. It was not the mere matter of the separation of the colonies from the motherland, but that sentiment in the Declaration of Independence which gave liberty not alone to the people of this country, but I hope to the world for all future time. It was that which gave promise that in due time the weight would be lifted from the shoulders of all men. This is the sentiment embodied in the Declaration of Independence. Now, my friends, can this country be saved upon that basis? If it can, I will consider myself one of the happiest men in the world if I can help to save it. If it can't be saved upon that principle, it will truly be awful. But if this country cannot be saved without giving up that principle, I was about to say I would rather be assassinated on the spot than surrender it. Now, in my view, the present aspects of affairs, there is no need of bloodshed and war. There is no necessity for it. I am not in favor of such a course. And I may say in advance there will be no bloodshed unless it is forced upon the government. The government will not use force unless force is used against it. My friends, this was a wholly unprepared speech, as it was. I did not expect to be called upon to say a word when I came here. I supposed I was merely to do something towards raising a flag. I may therefore have said something indiscreet, but I have said nothing but what I am willing to live by and in the pleasure of Almighty God die by. It's impossible to compare, of course, any situation we as a nation are in today with the battle between families, brothers, sisters, and Americans that was the American Civil War. I'm not attempting today in any way to do so. That said, the words of President Lincoln in his second inaugural address, which I'm about ready to read, is an inspiration, I think, and should be to all of us. With malice towards none, with charity for all, firmness in the right as God gives us, to see the right, let us strive on to finish the work we are in, to bind up the nation's wounds, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and orphan, to do all which may achieve and cherish a just and lasting peace amongst ourselves and all nations. Thank you,
Gentleman's
Mr.
time has
Speaker.
expired.